Hey, what is up, you guys? BoltClan3117 back here, going to be talking about this creepy bastard right here, and of course, other little Easter eggs and just stuff that I've noticed in the recent trailers that we've gotten and TV spots as well. So I sorry I couldn't bring you guys a couple of videos recently. I was out of town and I didn't have my equipment with me, but today I have the time to do that. So let's get right into this video. First off, I want to say that in the recent TV spot trailer that we've gotten, we do hear it speaking, and he says something along the lines of, "You seem like a nice boy. I bet you have a lot of friends." And some people have been telling me that that's Pennywise and that they're disappointed with how he sounds, and they're very adamant to me that that's Pennywise. I'm here to tell you and clarify right now. And if I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm 100% wrong when the movie comes out, but I have a very strong feeling that that is not Pennywise, that is the leper speaking to Eddie Kaspbrak. And to support that, we do see in the trailers and in some of the TV spots as well, we see that Eddie Kaspbrak does walk past the house on Neibolt Street alone. And in the novel, little Eddie Kaspbrak does do that as well. And he walks up to the porch, and from under the porch, the leper appears. And the leper is a man with leprosy who offers Eddie a blowjob and, really harasses him like that and just, toys with Eddie's mind, and it terrifies him. And it's really a disturbing moment in the novel, and it probably will be as disturbing, if not more, in the film. But we do see in the trailers that Eddie probably does run into the leper, and we even see at one point, if you pay attention closely right here, you can see that Eddie is running away in maybe like the side of the house, and behind him you can see that the leper is indeed chasing him. So I imagine that this is probably the leper who's been talking to Eddie in that TV spot, and it was not Pennywise. So the leper is just one of the many forms that it takes, and I imagine we're going to be seeing him and hearing him talk to Eddie when they're alone at the house at Neibolt Street. So just a clarification on that. That's not Pennywise, it is indeed the leper. So that'll be very interesting to see, and it'll probably be very, very creepy. Next up, we do see in one of the other TV spots that Pennywise is appearing inside of a TV, and he's in this like little old school like type of childhood advertisement type of video, and he's surrounded by all these other children singing along to this chorus, and the lyrics say "Kill them all, kill them all." So first off, a little nugget right here. We do know that Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise made child extras cry on set, so I imagine that these are probably some of the little kids that he made cry. So just real quick, just congrats to them for being troopers and carrying on the scene. The show must go on. So good for these kids for being real troopers. Anyways, my theory on this scene right here is that we do see in another earlier scene in some of the earlier trailers that Henry Bowers receives this knife, and if you look at the way that he looks at this knife, it's like he's shocked, and it's like he's almost weirded out that he has a knife in his hand, and that's because Pennywise probably conjures up this knife just like he does similarly in the novel to kill his father. And I imagine that we will be seeing that in the film. And once he does kill his father, I imagine something after that event occurs. He's probably going to be looking around his house. The TV will probably pop up or something like that. And he'll be watching this little advertisement with Pennywise on it. We do know that after the kids are all, chanting together, "Kill them all," he has this very sinister, creepy smile on his face that gets me every time. I love it. But he's probably going to persuade Henry to try and go after the losers club in the sewers to try and help it kill them. So that's probably what's going to be happening there. And speaking of the Bowers gang, we do see a brief glimpse of Patrick Hockstetter, and we see him in the sewers with a bunch of fire surrounding him. I imagine he's probably going to have a very similar death that he does in the novel, and I hope he does, because he is a very psychotic, evil person. And I think that his death in the novel is very gruesome, and it's the most disturbing. And that's exactly what that character deserves. And I hope that we do get to see that in the film as well. So I won't spoil what it is, but it looks like that's exactly what's going to be happening to him. And it looks like he's going to be receiving that same treatment that the character does in the novel. So after that, another little interesting Easter egg that I've noticed that I don't see many other people talking about. Maybe they don't think it's as important, but I do. And that's at one point in the trailer, Mike is talking to the rest of the losers, telling them how his grandfather believes that the town is cursed and that the same evil thing is causing all these tragic events. And in in the background behind him, you can see the Paul Bunyan statue. And the Paul Bunyan statue plays a very significant role in the character of Richie Tozier and his arc and the story of him and what happens to him and how it appears to him. So that's a very important piece to keep an eye on, and that's probably something that it could be taking the form of, much like he does in the novel. Another little thing that we see, speaking of the many different forms that Pennywise will probably be taking in the film, uh, something that we see in the novel, or rather read, but we didn't get in the miniseries, was the creature from the Black Lagoon. And as you can see right here, something is chasing Ben Hanscom inside the library. It looks like, because it looks like there's books on these shelves here to the side of him, and we see some type of figure chasing after Ben Hanscom. And if you look at the hand and the way there appears to be almost like claws on there, almost like, fin type claws, a little mixture of both. Uh, Also on the wrist, there appears to be what looks like maybe leaves. It could just be me and my mind playing games on me. I don't know, but leaves would play a big part in me thinking that it's the creature from the Black Lagoon, because that movie came out in 1954, and it's part of it's in the jungle. So I can imagine that kids from the 1980s would know what the creature from the Black Lagoon movie was, and they'd probably be scared of it. They just might be. So I could imagine that we'll be seeing the creature from the Black Lagoon in this film adaptation. That'll be new, that'll be fresh, that'll be something we haven't seen before. So I'll be looking forward to that. And another thing that we do see is that Mike Hanlon at one point is in the sewers, and almost like squid, slimy looking hands. It's more than two hands, so it reminds me of like a squid. Something that happened similarly in the 1990 miniseries, when they're all trying to make sure that it doesn't escape them so they can kill it. His normal Pennywise hand turns into like this squid like slimy hand, and then the losers let go in fear, and he gets away. So it looks like something like that could be happening right here with Mike Hanlon. So we'll have to see what happens there in that scene. Something that's also interesting is we see at one point Beverly Marsh is she's literally floating in the air. So that's not in the novel or the 1990 miniseries. So I wonder what that's all about, and I'm very curious to see what's happening in that scene as the rest of the losers look on. Another little thing I forgot to mention earlier with the leper, and how his dialogue was very creepy. Like, it's almost like a pervert, and the line delivery, the tone of his voice, and the dialogue. And it does make sense to me, because something I forgot to bring up earlier, but Pennywise, it is a child predator in the most literal sense. I mean, in the fact that he eats and he preys on children. So I just love I just love everything about the leper and that whole sequence with Eddie. It's like I said, it's very disturbing. It's very scary. So I just cannot wait to see that come to life on screen. One other little thing that I want to touch up on before we end this video is that we see there's a drawing of Pennywise inside this like old school piece of art that's in black and white, with all these like old settler type people in their fancy dresses. And then onto the corner on the side, lurking, we see Pennywise with a smile on his face. And I really like this because it plays into the mythology of it, and how it's been around for a very, very long time. And he preys on the children of Derry, Maine. And the adults are not saviors to their children. They're not. As a matter of fact, the adults are pawns in its scheme. They're able to be used, and he can manipulate them without the adults knowing that they're being used by it. So I like very much that some type of artist could have drawn Pennywise without even realizing it, because the town just just doesn't bat an eye at things. They turn a blind eye. So I really love that. And so that's especially evident in another scene where Ben's being attacked by the Bowers gang, and this old couple is driving by. This is something that's in the novel as well. And they don't even pay attention. They act like it's not happening. And then a balloon pops out at the end, and just to signify that it is everywhere. It is in this town. It is this town. So I'm very much interested in seeing, how the residents of Derry, Maine play out as well, because we do see in a couple shots of like Mr. Keen looking all creepy like. So everything about this town is creepy, really, if you think about it. So I would hate to live there, and I feel for the Losers Club. I really do. Another thing that we see for sure is that Stan, much like in the novel and in the miniseries as well, he is the only character. Of course, we see in another scene that Pennywise puts his hands on Beverly's neck and appears to be almost choking her. But other than that, Stan is the only character who is in the grasp of Pennywise and is face to face and so close to death. And it's a very pivotal and traumatic moment for this character that plays a role in something in an act that he commits later on in life as an adult. So a very important scene here, and it looks like they're adapting it very closely to the novel, and I cannot wait to see that. So yeah, this has just been a couple of thoughts that I've had going into this, some of these footage that we've seen, and I cannot wait to see more. I cannot wait to see this movie. We're so close. If you guys can't get your fix yet, you still haven't gotten your fix, and you want more stuff and more content on it, please let me know in the comment section below, your thoughts on some of the stuff I may have left out. I know I've left out a couple of things, but I'm just touching on things that stuck out to me. But if you want to talk about different things, go ahead and let me know in the comment section. I'd love to talk about either the novel or the 1990 miniseries or even the upcoming film. I'd really love to have a conversation with you guys. And I appreciate the comments and the love. But if you want more It videos, I have other older videos on my channel that you can check out as well. And if you want even more upcoming content, I'll be reviewing the novel next week. So if you want to catch that, just subscribe to the channel. And this has been Bolt Clan 3117 signing off.